What's up, guys? Welcome back. As you guys can see, we've got snow here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And it's hung around for most of the day. I'm filming this later in the day, so the sun's been out and that's taking most of the snow away, but everything was covered this morning. If you saw the last episode, you know that my long wheelbase Toyota Century is gone. Sold and gone. Definitely bittersweet. That one was a hard one to decide to sell, but out of the cars I do have, that was the one that I was least sentimental with, even though the car is pretty rare and pretty valuable and probably a car that I won't have the opportunity to own again, or will choose not to own again due to what those cars are worth now. But the CORVAIR and the 700 are still here in the shop, and as you can see, there's a wide open space now. It went to California, went to a great home. The guy's super excited about the car. He took delivery a couple days ago, so glad to hear that he's stoked with it. I've already had people sending me photos who have seen it on the road out in California, who have recognized the car, and obviously there's not too many other bagged long wheelbase Toyota Centuries in the States. So there's a lot going on. It's March right now. We're only a few weeks away from Riverside, which is here in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I'm going to be vending the show with Ludwig's Garage, which is a first for me with this brand. I've vended a few shows in the past with the Governor's Club, which is my automotive brand that I started actually 10 years ago this year. And I've decided to rebrand into Ludwig's Garage and kind of focus more on that with the merchandise and with the cars themselves, as some of the cars that I'll be buying and putting together, I will be selling. That's kind of something I've done over the last 15 years now, and I want to focus more on that. And that's kind of why this YouTube channel even exists. It's been awesome kind of documenting a lot of the world travel, especially before 2020, and road trips across America and whatnot. That's been super fun. There's going to be a lot of that still, but I retooled my whole booth setup for Ludwig's Garage, and that stuff came in back a few weeks ago with new tent canvas, the whole tent canopy, banners, flags, table cover, all of that. Here's a look at some of the banners here, or the flags, I should say. Table covers, and the tent canvas, tent topper, and all of that. Super excited about that. I'm going to get my tent set up either in here or outside on a less windy day, just to make sure everything is what I want. I have a few more things to order for banners. I've also been working on lots of new merchandise for the show, lots of hard goods that I'm making myself as far as key rings and some wood products, even some acrylic stuff goes. But also pulling the trigger on lots of soft goods. I finally worked with my friend Josh from Like Hell Design in the United Kingdom. You've seen his work. I know most of you guys have seen his work. He does a lot of work for Adam LZ, Paul Barney from Eurotripper, lots of other brands and car shows in the States and beyond. Does a lot of automotive vector design. And since kind of knowing what he did, I've always wanted to do a shirt with the two air-cooled cars on it and have some sort of patina style shirt. And we were able to get something done in time for Riverside. His schedule was packed out, and at the end of January, beginning of February, when I first reached out, it didn't look like we were going to be able to get anything done in time because of his schedule and the amount of work needed in order to basically redraw these cars in all of their minute detail. So he finally decided, you know what, we can make this happen, and he got it done. Got the design to me in hand last week, and now I've been even more full throttle trying to get everything screen printed, get the screen printers ready since they're a couple weeks out. Going to be doing new hats, separate logo, just the L script logo on the hats. So the Patina Paradise drop will be debuting at Riverside here in Chattanooga in just a couple weeks. I'm going to be working with my friend Dustin Williams from Okie Doke, who's also going to be at Riverside, on some prints with this design. And we're going to do some traditional movie poster style prints that he's going to screen print himself. They're going to be 18 by 24 inch. So they'll be in that traditional movie poster or show bill, band venue sizes. So I'm super stoked on that. New stickers are coming, different colorways between the shirts, the key rings I'll make myself, the prints. Really excited to show you guys kind of what I've been brewing up with this specific design. So what else I'm working on today is I am switching up the Rider Plaque I made for the back parcel shelf of the CORVAIR. Now the one that's in here already is basically a second generation plaque that I made out of acrylic. I designed this and cut it myself with my laser machine out of acrylic. And this is the current one. And it's wired up for illumination right here. So I had a John Player Special style TGC logo acrylic piece in there originally. Switched it up to that monogram style logo when I had that design, obviously this design running. And now I decided I want to make a Ludwig's Garage one. Now the first one I acrylic welded into that base, and that base has an LED strip in it. And then obviously there's wiring that runs from that bat handle switch up underneath the rear firewall here to that LED switch. And so the clear acrylic piece was acrylic welded to the base. So that base has 4 screws or bolts that hold it to the parcel shelf, and the whole thing would come out as one piece. Well, after a while, I can't remember if I was putting something in here, it wiggled loose, or something happened where that clear piece became loose and was able to be pulled out. So when I made the second one, I just made it a smidgen larger so it fit into that piece snug without having to actually acrylic welded in case in the future I wanted to switch it out yet again, which is where we are today. So what I'm thinking of doing is just a pretty simple new piece that has my Ludwig's L script logo on it right here. This was the first one I did, which kind of has that JPS, John Player Special style logo. And then this was the monogram one. And now I think I'm going to figure out how I want to engrave this one in this same shape here, so I don't have to redesign this piece. All right, so if you guys are new to the channel, my father and I chopped the roof on this Corvair. We came down about 2 inches with it. A lot of people have asked about the bracing here, and it is functional. It's not just to make it look like an old race car, circle track car, or anything like that. When we came down 2 inches with the roof, we had to heat form this rear window. I really wanted to use MR10. I'm sure a lot of you guys out there probably know of a better composite material to use than MR10, but from what I had heard at the time, MR10 was heat formable, but also scratch resistant, so you could actually run wipers on it if you were going to make a windscreen out of it, which we did not. We cut the original windscreen out of glass, which is why I've got cracks in the windshield. But I was only about a week away from trying to drive this car 30 hours each way to Helen, Georgia, and we just decided to cut the old glass. Glass cutters will tell you, rule number 1, never cut old glass. But we did, and we somehow got it done. We'd never cut glass before, so we somehow got it done well enough to get the top piece off and get the windshield in, but we did have a few cracks take off on us, unfortunately. But on the back, we just used the regular plexiglass, so this is scratched to high heaven. It's real dirty right now, so what I do when I wash it, since it scratches real easy, is I just use water. I wash it down without touching it first. Then I use a sponge with Dawn dish soap, so there's no abrasives in that. And then I just gently wipe it down with a sponge and Dawn, and then rinse it back off again. So I do that every now and then. But it's already seen most of its wear and got pretty scratched up. But we used a piece of inch angle on the inside and inch flat stock on the outside, mated to the back side of it, and it's bolted in on the top and bottom on the outside. And as you can see, we notched it here and here so it sits in there real tight. So at highway speeds down the road with the windows open, this thing's acting like a sail, and these hold it in. And it's riveted on the outside as well. I think this is just snug enough. There we go. Just like that. Oh, it looks like I wrapped a little piece of tape around the bottom to kind of make it thicker to fit more snug in there. This is what we'll do. We'll remake this with the L logo, and project done. All right, guys, if you haven't already, make sure to go to the video's description and click on the links for the Wheel Price app, which is free for both iOS and Android devices. Wheel Price is an online wheel classifieds app for buying and selling your wheels, completely based around what us enthusiasts are looking for in wheels and the ease of searching and buying those wheels as well. So make sure to download the app for free, set up a profile, and get listing the wheels that you've been looking to sell or searching for the wheels that you've not been able to find anywhere else. All right, so now that the Century's gone, there is some indoor space here in the shop, And if you've signed on to the Patreon, which is just about a dozen of you, which I can't thank you enough for coming on board over there, you guys already know that I've purchased another car, and you guys already know what it is. This is not a reveal video. That time is certainly coming, probably sooner than later. I am crawling out of my skin. The car is not anywhere near Tennessee. And as I'm sure you guys could probably imagine, I'm putting together ideas to possibly fly out to where the car is and drive it back to Tennessee, which would involve quite a road trip. All right, so I've got the acrylic loaded and my laser head right about where I want it to scale this job. I'm using 1/4 inch thick extruded acrylic. I'd rather use cast for this job because cast acrylic engraves much more frosty white and you get a much more aggressive pop out of a laser engraving in clear acrylic when it's cast. This extruded acrylic I just purchased at like my local hardware store. So although extruded acrylic doesn't engrave as prominent frosty white as I'd really like it to, the extruded acrylic definitely has a decent white to it. All right, so got this put together. I thought about doing a time lapse of designing it and I just didn't have my tripod. I decided to make the L a little bit larger so it could protrude from the corners of the plaque to kind of give it a bespoke shape. So it wasn't just a round plaque anymore. It actually had a contour shape to the L itself. And so when we look at where it's going to engrave, this is kind of what it's going to look like. So this is what it looks like when it first gets engraved before I've had a chance to wash it. And you can see all the vapor burn from all the plastic from getting burned by the laser, just kind of stuck back down onto the acrylic. So what I'll do now is I'll wash it and then clean it up, show you guys what it looks like when it's all finally finished. All right, so I got the piece all washed and cleaned up and this is the result. No more burn residue, and the side that I wash is the actual backside of the piece that I engrave. So as obviously being a mirror engraving, when you turn it around, everything's orientated the way it should be, but also engraved from the back. So you kind of get this like floating logo kind of feel inside the acrylic. And the best part of it is since it's laser cut, you get these polished cuts around the edges. Whereas normally if you were going to saw cut acrylic, you'd have to sand it and polish it to get that finished look on it. Well, she's installed. She's in. I actually cut it a little too wide to fit into the slot, so I actually had to sand a little bit off the edges down here where it fits into the groove of the black acrylic that acts as the base. But she's in there. She's pretty stiff, pretty solid. My favorite part, edge-lit acrylic looks so good with white somewhere along the edge, especially with a laser engraved acrylic. I'll get some shots of it with the shop lights off. So this is the only source of light, and you really get a chance to see the color and the engraving pop in the acrylic. But yeah, this is just kind of a quick look at a quick job, basically. I already had the style outline already made and designed for this base, so all I really had to do was change the outer shape with the L. But as I try to get out of the car, well, that's going to do it for this episode, guys. Just a quick little project on the CORVAIR. I've been wanting to switch that up for a little bit, so happy I took the time today to do that. And took the time to kind of document the process of kind of a thought for a modification on the car to utilize my laser machine and kind of what I've learned over the last few years using that to make cool, bespoke little pieces for the car. Thank you guys so much for watching. As I mentioned before, stay tuned for the reveal of the new project that I'm super excited about. Until then, if you really want to help support the channel and support what's going on here, hit the link in the video's description for the Patreon link and see what I've already picked up and a little bit more of the plan. I've also talked about the E24 635 CSI project in detail and a lot of information that I haven't really talked about here on YouTube or even on Instagram or even to most of my friends. There's a really big plan that Sutton and I have for that car out in California, and I'm hoping that in the next month I can get out there and we can start the process of that build as well. But until then, thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next episode.